Welcome back everyone. I know it's been a while, but something's finally happening worth talking about, or rather speculating about. And that is the 5 other character slots that are teased at the end of the EVO announcement that will be revealed this Saturday. Now before I start, I want to say 2 things. The first is that ARK is doing a great job in turning around public opinion for the rest of this year. Revealing the last 5 characters all at one time will be a big boost in terms of getting public opinion to shift back into the positive light. Because going into EVO, to say people were upset, let down, or just plain burnt out would have been a bit of an understatement. So revealing all of the characters not long after the EVO reveal is just great timing. Speaking of 2.0 though, I will be making another State of Tag video that will address the current state of the game post EVO but before 2.0 releases. The second thing I want to talk about is the characters, and I cannot stress this enough. This is an ARK game featuring guest franchises. I bring this up because every time I see characters being discussed, people love to point out the fact that there's inadequate support for every franchise. For example, people love bringing up how many characters are in Blazblue compared to Ruby, while forgetting that this isn't a Ruby fighting game. It's not even a Senran Kagura fighting game, nor is it an Arcana Hearts fighting game. Not all fates will have equal amounts of character. And as I'll indirectly point out in this video, it's because not all these series are created equal in terms of how many characters each has. Not only that, but we don't know what the other 2 fates are that are coming. Now with all that out of the way, let's talk about my predictions on these 5 characters. So first, let's talk about what we do know. We know at least 2 of the characters that are going to be coming from the Blazblue side. ARK themselves said so. The issue is, with only 2 slots, who is actually going to be coming? There's 2 characters I want above all others, and that being Izanami and Kokonoi. But I have to say I honestly don't know who would be coming at all. Not because I can't guess, I mean anyone can do that, but rather due to the amount of characters left on the Blazblue side alone that aren't in the game currently. I'd have to narrow it down. You see, if we operate under the following rules, it still leaves a nice healthy number of characters available to put in the game from Blazblue alone. So what are these rules? Well, I'll go over them with you here. Rule number 1, no puppets. Because of how tag works, puppet characters don't seem very likely. Rule 1.1, Relius isn't allowed because of his, experiments. I mean, if you don't know how Relius's astral works, it can be certainly suggestive. Now this isn't an issue for the Blazblue characters, but this would require Mori and company to create over 30 different astrals for Relius alone. So with that said, I think it's fair to say he's out. Rule number 2, no transformations or variants. Let me explain those for those who haven't played any Blazblue core games. New 13 and Lambda 11 are variants of each other. Their move lists are very slightly different. Not only would this be a waste of a slot, but it doesn't seem like what they're going for. Also, Mu 12 may not be in because Noelle, her base form, is already in. I mean, if we're going to get her transformation, why didn't we get Tsubaki's base form as well? This one is mere speculation, but even still, I think it's worth considering. So we can kind of count them, but it would seem a bit wasteful. Now, if they were to add crazy Mu 12, that would certainly be awesome to me. But Zen, I hear you. Hakumen is in, and Hakumen is another form of Jin. Okay, well, you're right and you're also wrong. For those who don't know, Hakumen is Jin Kizuragi from another dimension. It's Blazblue logic, so just go with it. As such, they're the same person, but at the same time, they're not the same person. This rule would also apply to Terumi and Susanoo. So sorry for anyone hoping for both, but that ain't happening. Rule 2.1, no characters that transform mid-battle. That means you, Valkenhayn. I'll explain why in a moment with the next rule, but just follow me for now. And the last rule, rule number 3, is no Lychee. This one I'm going to have to explain. You see, Lychee is one of the most complex characters in the game because of how her staff works. She's so unique that she has an entire moveset of moves depending upon whether or not she has her staff equipped to her or not. Now, it's not that I don't think she can't be made viable, I just feel at the current stage of the game, she's far too complex for the game right now. These same statements apply to Valkenhayn as well, as he's a character with 2 different movesets depending upon which form he's in. Plus, Valkenhayn can't block in his wolf form at all, so that's a thing as well. You think it's hard enough blocking Batista's laser now? Try blocking her where you can't block in a form at all. Now with all those rules in place, we can see that we're still left with at least 11 characters from the Blazblue side alone that have yet to be made playable. 13 if you want to count base Tsubaki and Mu 12 since those characters do play differently. If you want to say Izanami violates rule number 3 to get at me, you certainly can, and then that would bring us down to 12. That's still a rather large number. We don't have all of the 6 heroes, we don't have all of the Sector 7 Rebellion if you want to call it that from Chrono Phantasma, which was Hibiki, Kokonoi, Kagura, and Bullet post Central Fiction. We don't have all the Observers. We don't have many combinations of characters that are all fit a certain group. But the point remains that we still have 12 or maybe 13 characters from Blazblue alone that aren't in the game. And since it really does seem to be truly random, or at least logic we don't know about when it comes to what characters get picked, it all comes down to our guesses, sadly. Guessing which of these remaining characters will be put in. From this, I'm just going to say this. This is most likely the list of characters that you're going to have to pick from and guess from as to which characters are going to be put in the game. To me, these characters make it a lot easier to predict which characters are coming. So moving on from here, I'm going to be talking about Under Night, because it's my belief that the next two characters will be from the Under Night side. The reason here is that since the EVO announcement were all about the new face and the guest franchises, the remaining characters are going to be from the existing face that we already have in the game. With the remaining Under Night cast, only two rules apply to them. Rule 1, no puppets, and Rule 2, no guest characters. Now before someone jumps and points out Akatsuki is coming and he's a guest character, I need to point out that he's coming from his home game, not Under Night. So with that rule established, that means no Eltham and no Chaos. Phew!
That was easy.
Now unlike Blazblue that still has double digits, Under Night only has 6 characters that have yet to be put in the game. If I am right and the reveal here is for the face that are currently in the game, that would mean Under Night is going to be getting 2 characters. 2 out of 6 is pretty great if you ask me. Last but not least is Persona. Persona is short and sweet. Until we get word that Ultimax characters are going to be in the game, the focus should be exclusively on vanilla Persona, with the following rules applying. Rule number 1, no puppets. Rule number 2, no variants. And wouldn't you know, only 2 characters are left from the Persona side alone. And on top of this, wouldn't you know, one of those characters violates both aforementioned rules. Meaning the only character left to be made playable from Persona is Elizabeth herself. And if she's made playable, well...
What is that? Sounds like someone's being attacked by a tiger.
Yeah. Well, that's my thoughts. We'll officially find out who's coming this Saturday. Let's talk about who you guys want to be in the game or hope to be revealed in the comments. Saturday isn't too far away. We don't have that much longer to go. So go ahead and like the video and subscribe.